What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness, brought to you by DraftKings new app Pick 6. I'm Nick. I'm here with LZ, and we're going to have a fun one today. We are going to talk about an infamous dinner party that went down, and some real Bush League stuff happened. It was run by Fanatics, and man, it's going to be a fun thing to get into. What's going on, LZ?
Yeah, good, Nick. How you doing, man?
I'm
It's
good. I'm good.
this hoity-toity dinner that that we saw. Um it was at the Asian Sports Collectors Convention in Macau.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful city.
Yes.
And it was a breakers dinner, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
So picture, and it was the head of strategy, Jeff Gordon for Fanatics, the head of
Mm-hmm.
strategy for Fanatics was at this dinner. Picture this like insanely high-end steakhouse. It looked like a beautiful room, Nick, right? And
Mm-hmm.
this beautiful room, this big, huge, like round table, and there was probably 20 breakers around the table, and then you had kind of Jeff in the middle, and he's sharing his thoughts about Fanatics. And the biggest no-no in the world, when you're doing one of these high-end dinners where you're talking shop, you're talking strategy, you're talking about where a company's going, where it's not going, maybe you're sharing some kind of details on your collection, you don't take your camera out and videotape the whole conversation, Nick, which is exactly what happened. We saw it. It's been all over Instagram. And at one point, Jeff, the head of strategy, is talking about actually some sensitive things. He kind of brings up
Very sensitive
the
stuff.
legality of something, and he goes into detail, and somebody is videotaping the whole thing. And then he kind of scrolls around this big round table, right? So picture him at like the top of, picture him at 12 o'clock on a clock, and he's scanning the table, and like all these breakers are like
You're like,
waving,
what's up?
waving to him. Yeah.
One dude's just mowing
What's
down food.
up? What's up? But
Oh man.
that's just such a no-no. When you have these private dinners, you don't break out your phone and start videotaping what people are talking about. At least, Nick, if I'm at one of these, I'm telling people to put their phones away. Like, let's enjoy a steak for
Yeah.
2 hours and have a good
Yeah.
conversation as
Candy
opposed.
Crush can probably wait like an hour. You know what I mean? Like, how do you know, by the way, how do you know you're at a Bush League dinner or a really high-end dinner?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't check the phones at the door. Any real high-end dinner that you're at, they're going to say, phones, please. They'll have a security guard. Then you
Yeah.
go in and have the dinner.
Yeah.
And do a couple of those. And these guys clearly haven't. This reminded me, you know, in undergrad where you go on an interview and like a few of you go offsite to like PepsiCo
Mm-hmm.
or some big company,
Mm-hmm.
and like you got a hotel for the night and food's on them, and you're just like, what is this? And you just can't handle yourself. You just don't even know how to act. It felt like 90% of that table had never eaten like a $200 steak before. And they were like, what's up? Look at my steak, man.
Yeah,
And
well,
then,
not it didn't even have to be like the $200 steak thing, man. It's just like you've been invited to this. It was an exclusive dinner. You could tell, like the way they had like postcards like on the tables with like their name and the menu, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful looking dinner. You don't do that, man.
yeah.
You
And
don't do that.
you want to talk about what was said? That was
Yeah,
crazy. So let's tie
get
this back
into
to
it.
sports
Yeah,
cards.
so the legality part of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, fill everybody in on what Jeff said
All right. So
from
Jeff
Fanatics.
was, I'm going to actually, I will pause this video for those on YouTube and on audio, and I'll run the clip so you can actually hear what he says.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I can't believe what the head of strategy at Fanatics actually said at this private dinner. It does look a little like Weird Al Yankovic, though, right? First rule of private dinners: cell phones at the door.
Started experimenting with the MVP buyback. And again, I'd have to look at, what's legality or legality.
When your head of strategy publicly admits they don't understand the legality of something they've already done, that's a problem.
But what we did was take a base card and we said,
This dude's clearly just here for the food, and he's actually making me hungry.
okay, whoever wins MVP, it's $20. And then we said, if it's a refractor, it's $40. Numbered card above 100, it's 100.
This is the future of the hobby. Take those base cards, cash them in for 20 bucks, just like scratch tickets, but you're not regulated like the state lottery. All right, so you just heard what he said. Now, he was talking about the MVP buyback program. So what that is a program with Fanatics where you own a bunch of base cards. Let's say you own a bunch of Mookie Betts cards in the right set, right? Mookie Betts gets MVP that year. You can trade in those cards for $20. I think either credit to Fanatics or something like that. Then you could do other things, like if you have a Mookie Betts refractor, that might be worth 100. If you have this other card, it might be worth 50. You do it for other players, that sort of thing. And they've already done this. This is a program they've already done and executed. And as you just heard, during this dinner, he said, I'm not totally sure about the legality of this, but we're going to look into it.
Head of strategy.
Oh
Yikes.
man, he's on the board of directors. You know, the chief legal counsel is on the board of directors. Have a discussion with your chief legal counsel before you start spilling this. Also, read the room. Okay, looks like 15 people have their cameras out, and one of them is actively filming me.
Yeah, actively.
Like Jeff Gordon worked at McKinsey and BCG. He should know better, right? Like BCG works with the government a lot. Like phones down, boys. I'm going to talk about some sensitive stuff.
I mean, Nick, I do hope that the guys who did have their phones out were at least doing the pick 6 from DraftKings. Like at least they were trying to place their trying to pick their best running back for the day or best shooting guard in the NBA that night. But
so if those guys if they had used code Madness 6, all right, they could have at least gotten like $50 of value from this embarrassing event because
and then they could have helped pay for that expensive steak.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So use code Madness 6 if you're going to download Pick 6. These guys should have at the dinner. At least it would have been more productive. I agree.
Yeah, but Nick, it's just back to Jeff's thing, and I don't know. Maybe he was caught up in the moment. Maybe he was, and he made that legality comment. But I'm going to go in his shoes. To his defense, like you mentioned, he's an executive. He's on the board. He's used to going to dinners like this, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he's used to these dinners being closed door. And you know what? I am going to shoot from the hip a little bit here and kind of, we're all comfortable. We all probably had a couple cocktails. Like, let me know where my head's at. And he probably was not thinking that people were sitting around videotaping him.
Even though they were doing it in front of his face.
I know, even though he's doing it.
He was really in the mode. You could tell he's a McKinsey ex-partner because they're the most important person in the room all the time. They're making $1 million a year, and they're basically God to like that particular office and that particular client. So, and it kind of fits because he looks like Jesus a little bit. And he's talking, and you could tell he was a partner because it's just everybody else is irrelevant.
Yeah,
and it's fascinating.
All right, so we're gonna do some sort of dinner event at some point, and I'm gonna say it like if we're gonna be talking shop, phones aren't allowed. I'm sorry.
Or you know what? Airplane mode and
airplane mode.
And if I catch you off airplane mode, I'm throwing that phone in the toilet.
Yeah. Otherwise, you just won't be invited back. We want to be able to have conversation, interesting discussions, and not, it's the world we live in, man. Like everybody feels like they need the scoop and they need to throw it on Instagram right away. So that's
one more thing on that, man. So if anybody in the audience, we're going to be at the National next year for like 5 days. Somebody in the audience is in Chicago. They've got some kind of space we can use or some kind of park that we don't know about. We're thinking of a nice casual meetup for Sports Card Madness. So let us know. DM me on Instagram, Boston Card Hunter.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, let's get to, you said you have an interesting question for me.
Oh,
Nick.
I do. We've got a
question
question about
different. I think it's different than what we're usually doing too. I have a feeling.
Let's do a question about Thanksgiving. All right.
Okay. All right.
It's gonna be one has to go. Okay. I'm gonna give you 3 Thanksgiving sides, and you get to keep 2 till the end of time, and one has to go till the end of time. All right.
All right. You gonna make this difficult for me?
Yeah, this is pretty hard, man. I think I know what you're gonna pick though. All right, gravy. Gravy's number 1.
Oh man. Okay.
Stuffing is number 2.
Oh,
and cranberry sauce is number 3.
Oh man.
What's gonna go?
All right. Like it or not, a lot of us can't cook the perfect turkey. They do come out dry sometimes. Like everyone, a lot of people brine their turkeys. That definitely helps, but you got to have gravy because a lot of times it is a little dry. You want to put that gravy over your stuffing, your mashed potatoes, whatever. Yeah. That's going to stay. The other one, in my opinion, that has to stay is the stuffing. That is my number 1 side. I make it with some sausage in there too. It's fantastic. So cranberry, you're off the boat.
Interesting.
You're off the boat. Yeah.
So my choice is different, and I'll give you my reasoning. So cranberry sauce is so unique that it will actually change your sandwich the next day, and it will change your meal.
Yeah.
Stuffing, I can't get rid of that. I mean, geez, it's like the most important thing.
Mhm.
I usually just eat dark meat, so I don't
Okay.
mind not having access to gravy because it's
Ah.
usually a little fattier.
You do
anyway.
dark meat in your sandwich the next day too?
I do a combo, a little bit
Okay.
of thigh, a little bit of breast, and it's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does the job, and I guess it's healthier, maybe. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of gravy. Oof,
And I
can't
guess
believe I'm
you
saying it.
could cheat, and if the turkey was dry, you could just smother some cranberry sauce on top of it to kind
Or
of.
some turkey broth drippings. That doesn't count.
Oh
That's
no
not
no
gravy.
no no! I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving you that.
Put some
No no
flour in
no
it. I'm kidding. I'm
no
kidding.
no. All right all right. Oh wow! I thought you were gonna pick the same as me. All right.
Interesting. Well,
Cool.
I wonder what the audience would let go of out of those three. Let us know.
All right. Great. All right,
Cool.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.